My name is Anja Lange. I'm a language assistant of the German Academic Exchange Service, and I did a research about the foreigner perspective of Euromaidan. That means I went through the three major German weekly magazines, Der Spiegel, Stern, and Focus, and I had a look how do they report about the actions at the Maidan in Kiev. So my four mainly questions were: how much space within the magazine is dedicated to the Euromaidan actions? How often is the Euromaidan the cover topic? Which politicians do they talk about? What do they do? Do they do and report on an interview, for example? And how do they report about the actions in the end of November 2013 when some students were beaten up by the Berghut at the Maidan? And how do they report about the actions in the end of February 2014 when the conflict became more violent? My time frame was the 21st of November when the protests started till the 31st of March 2014. And what I need to say is that Der Spiegel, just that you can have it in mind, that Der Spiegel is edited on Monday and is the most popular German weekly magazine with an edition about 900,000 copies per week. Der Stern is less important with 750,000 copies per week, and Der Focus is the less important weekly magazine with just 500,000 copies per week. So as we can see here is that most of the reports were done in February after the violent actions in the end of February, and when the Crimea crisis showed up in March 2014. And the total amount of pages, I counted it within every weekly magazine, is about 100 pages every magazine they report about the Euromaidan. As you can see here, the Euromaidan is just twice a cover topic, and you see that it's 2 times about Putin. So the Euromaidan itself is never a cover topic, and Der Spiegel reports 2 times about Putin. They, for example, ask the question, who can stop Putin? And they show Merkel and Obama. So the Euromaidan itself is never the cover topic, unfortunately. Now the biggest part is which politicians do they talk about. And first of all, Der Spiegel talks a lot about Klitschko. So you need to know that Vitaly Klitschko is maybe the most well-known Ukrainian politician in Germany. That means he's well known because he lives in Hamburg, as well as Vladimir Klitschko lives in Hamburg, and they are boxing very often in Germany, and they have a big fan base there. So most of the reports are about him. And secondly, a lot of reports are about Merkel and Putin, about the German relations to Russia. How do they change within the Crimea crisis? Do they change at all? And what is Putin doing? For example, they call an article Moscow's friends, Moscow's enemies. And the key quote of the Spiegel can be the following one from the 50th issue of 2013. The fight for Ukraine is a fight between the Russian president and the German chancellor. So here you see the two oppositions, Russia and Germany, and it's not actually about Ukraine. The first round went to Putin, but Merkel and the Europeans see in boxer Vitaly Klitschko a new strong man. So this is all about Klitschko, about Merkel, and about Putin. Der Stern reports more about Tymoshenko. So, for example, they have a report about the freedom for Tymoshenko. They show Tymoshenko's first appearance at the Maidan. And also they did an interview, 5 pages with Tymoshenko. So what we can see is that Klitschko and Tymoshenko are the 2 most famous Ukrainians in Germany. And for example, in the whole 3 major German weekly magazines, there is no report about Yatsenyuk, there is no interview, for example, with Poroshenko. So when Poroshenko finally won the presidential elections, he needed to be introduced to the German public, because he was really unknown for them, because it was all about Putin, Merkel, Klitschko, and Timoshenko. And one key quote of the Stern could be from the 6th issue of 2014, and they write, Vitaly Klitschko is the most known opposition leader in Germany. Thanks to an almost daily column at the Bild, so this is a very famous German daily newspaper, the 42-year-old seems to be a resolute acting politician. So even the, for example, radio stations or the TV stations in Germany call Vitaly Klitschko the opposition leader, or the political leader of Ukraine, which is actually not true. He's one of the oppositional politicians, but he's not the leader of the opposition, of the political opposition in Ukraine. The focus also pays attention to Klitschko and Timoshenko. We already know that. For example, they have an interview with Klitschko, My Hardest Fight. They have Klitschko fights for his country, a report, Klitschko at the Maidan, Klitschko is the hope. And they also ask, for example, the biographer of Timoshenko, and he explains her tragedy. And it is all about Putin and Merkel. So Merkel is called a Putin-Versteher, a Putin understander. So she has a lot of understanding for Putin. And they ask, for example, the question, why does Putin behave like a Tsar? A key quote from the Focus could be the following. It's also about Vitaly Klitschko. You see, Vitaly Klitschko is the major topic of the whole Euromaidan. Box champion Vitaly Klitschko challenges President Yanukovych. Will he be the new strongman in Kiev? So this is all about. They have very few reports about Yanukovych, but they all see in Vitaly Klitschko the new president, the new strongman in Kiev. And we know after the elections that he is not the new strongman in Kiev. And the last two questions were about how do they report about the actions in the end of November. And in the end of November, actually this is a very small topic in the weekly magazines. It was more a topic for the daily newspapers. And Der Stern is the only one who really has a picture. It's the 50th issue of 2013, and they say, at the weekend, police special forces beat down people at the Maidan who were protesting peaceful. Yanukovych said that he is scandalized by the violence of the police, but the people became even more angry because of that, so they didn't believe him. And the Stern was the only newspaper who really reported about these actions in the end of November. A big topic, though, were the actions in the end of February, because, yeah, for example, the title was Blood and Freedom, the war about Kiev, and the power of the billionaires. So they were all saying that it was a drama between civil war and the victory of democracy. So that is the topic for those three major magazines. What we can say as a conclusion is that Klitschko is a really, really big topic about those in those magazines. It's all about Timoshenko, it's all about Klitschko, but it was never really about the other oppositional politicians, not about Yatsenyuk, and not about Poroshenko, for example. So this is what we see in those magazines, in the analysis of the magazine. Thank you.